The Democrats are raising for Barack Obama. You see, that was a slip. That was a slip. We always joke that maybe it is Obama running things behind the scenes, or maybe it's Michelle Obama, who eventually will be running things with Barack Obama still behind the scenes. Anyway, they're raising money for Joe Biden's campaign. They're doing it in New York City, and it's huge. Like, it is a big deal. It's a fortune to go to this thing. It's $500,000. You get your picture with all three ex-presidents. That would be Obama, Clinton, and Biden. And Annie Leibovitz, who's like a famous Vogue photographer, is going to take the picture, blah, 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 blah. I have so many friends that work in New York City, and they're like not going into the city today because they're like, there's no point. This is definitely an at-home work day, a Zoom day, because it's gridlock everywhere. Well, you know who else is in the New York area? Not going to a $25 million fundraiser today. That would be none other than the former president, the 45th president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, arriving on this wet, cold, rainy day to go to a wake outside of the fancy schmancy shindig for the $25 million for Democrats. He's going to the wake of the slain officer, Officer Diller, John Diller, who died on the job because he got shot by some reckless hoodlum who he was stopping at a traffic light. Routine day, he's a family man. He's just out doing his job, stops someone at a traffic light, and his life is over. Well, Donald Trump went to this wake today. Do we have some video of him? We might even have, yeah, there we go. Here he is, arriving for the wake of the officer that was killed. I actually think that image right there, and take a look, let it sink in, speaks volumes. There he is greeting the people. I should point out that the cops, the police officers union, they said they didn't want any local politicians there. I mean, I don't think they feel supported at all in their jobs, because so much has happened that has driven a wedge between the cops and everybody else. There's been a lack of respect. How do they do their jobs when they can't do their jobs? When you have the White House coming out and saying stuff like this, instead of saying we honor his memory. Karine Jean-Pierre, who we know is not the greatest press secretary around, but she just can't help herself. She goes straight to gun violence. I mean, wow. I mean, you want to politicize this in a moment like this? Let's watch her.
Relates to the death of the officer. Look, our hearts go out to this officer who tragically lost his life in the line of duty. We're also praying for his family during this difficult time, who now has an empty seat at their dinner table. President Biden is deeply grateful for the sacrifices police officers make to keep our community safe. This shooting is yet another painful reminder of the toll of gun violence, that what it's doing to inflict on families and our communities and our nation. And that's why the president signed more than 24 executive actions. That's why we're able to pass a bipartisan agreement to deal with the gun violence that we're seeing in this country. Obviously, more work needs to be done. We need Congress to continue to act on making sure that our communities are safe, and again, our hearts go out to this officer and his family. It's a difficult time for them.
These two things are kind of unrelated right now. I'm telling you this. Like, she's got to spin. Let me just say, time and place, lady, time and place. All right, I don't even want to get into this argument, which, by the way, is not an argument, but time and place. Beyond inappropriate of Karine Jean-Pierre to take it to that level on a day like today. Beyond inappropriate of the Democrats to pat themselves on the back on a day like today. We got our $25 million. Woohoo, 25 million, historic level, because we want to make sure that Biden wins no matter what. And then there's Donald Trump not getting paid to go show up at a fallen officer's wake on a rainy, cold day in New York, what does that tell you? What message does that send? It sends a message that one person, the 45th president of the United States, actually cares. Cares about individuals, cares about the police, by the way, cares about law and order. And the other team cares about money. Money, money, money. Well, I got news for him. Money's not everything. And you know what? Hillary Clinton had more money, a whole lot more money than Donald Trump. And I don't see her in the Oval Office. You know who else had more money? Biden had a lot more money than Donald Trump in 2020 as well. And that was neck and neck. We can have another discussion at another time about that one. I will say I'm glad Lara Trump has taken the whole ballot harvesting issue seriously, because we need to fight fire with fire. And so long as they're going to play by that set of rules, so can we. But don't forget what's going on in real time. They're out there money grubbing. Do we have the video of all three of them getting off the plane? The little short steps? You know, because there we go. Okay. You got Joe Biden. You got Barack Obama. Well, Clinton didn't make that round. Okay, so he's got his own plane, I guess. But there's Barack Obama. Apparently, he's been really stressed out about these poll numbers because, well, they show Donald Trump continuing to just surge in the polls compared to, especially when you factor in RFK, compared to Joe Biden. Let's turn this sound up for just a moment. Oh, okay, we lost it. Hey, Drew, do we have the sound of Lee Zeldin? Because I think Lee helps put it in sort of, it helps crystallize this picture. This is former Congressman from New York, Lee Zeldin, who, by the way, is being rumored on the VP thing. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But Lee Zeldin really helping to articulate just exactly who Jonathan Diller was and what a day like today really means.
While his one-year-old son will have to grow up without a dad, may not be watching our conversation here for many years and be able to appreciate it. When that time comes for that family to look back at this moment, know how grateful I am as a New Yorker, as an American, that we have heroes like Officer Diller, who was standing watch, who was willing to give up his life in defense of safety and security of us as New Yorkers. There are a lot of NYPD officers retiring, a lot of people quitting. A lot of folks aren't signing up and they're heading elsewhere. But this officer gave up his life, and to his family, our appreciation, our gratitude is unyielding and never ending. We have a situation with severe, out of control crime in this city. They have elected officials like Jumaane Williams and others who are advocating policies that are throwing our law enforcement under the bus, defunding up in Albany, pro-criminal laws that are prioritizing criminals over law-abiding New Yorkers. Everyone hears about the cashless bail law, but that's not it. Prosecutors like Alvin Bragg who refuse to prosecute. And in New York City, an attack on qualified immunity and people elected.
You know, look, Lee gets it. He's making the point that we have our issues, right, in New York, and you don't have a willingness to really clamp down on the crime that you would have had, even under, look, it doesn't have to be all conservatives. Giuliani, the police loved Giuliani, but you know who else they loved? Mike Bloomberg. Because Mike Bloomberg actually took this stuff seriously. It's just a recent phenomenon that sprung out of Black Lives Matter back in the summer of 2020, where suddenly you had to defund the police. Police were persona non grata. I mean, they are leaving the police force everywhere they can, left and right, because who the heck needs it? Who needs it? When you're going to be treated like that and your ability to do your job is so impeded by the political environment in which you live. A quick reminder, please subscribe to this show if you have not yet. I see some team members here. Read Omega 24, Mike Costa, good to welcome you back to this program. If you haven't signed up as a team member, you can do that right here on YouTube. We are going to be live tomorrow with just the team, so just a little group here. You're welcome to do that. I do love having you guys here, and if nothing else, subscribe to the show, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the thumbs up, you share, and all that good stuff. Or Don Baca's going to get after you. You watch. He'll have a thing or two to say. By the way, where are we? Are we at 1,000 likes for this episode yet? Or do we have a ways to go? We might still have a ways to go. I can't actually tell. But I can see a lot of you are watching. So that is absolutely thousands of people now watching. It's wonderful. I think we're going to make 250,000 subs by Easter, maybe even by Good Friday tomorrow. I want to give a quick plug for some friends of mine that really care about this policy right now. I mean, whether it's the fact that blue lives do matter or the fact that inflation is out of control, our friends over at JCN, they know how serious all of this is for our lives and for small business owners' lives. So you should check them out. They do a lot to help individual business owners all around the country to really put forward the ideas and the thought that's going to really make or break small communities. And they do all this training, and they do it for free, and it's really great to see. So if you're somebody who's interested, by the way, in speaking out on behalf of your community, think of this almost like the Chamber of Commerce, but like the conservative version of the Chamber of Commerce that wants to protect you and your business for the future. Go over and check them out. Alfredo Ortiz runs it. He's wonderful. He comes on the show regularly. Join jcn.com, Job Creators Network. Just a great, great group. Look, I mean, we got a lot of policy issues that are totally messed up, really messed up. And you got to ask yourself why that is. I mean, why are they out there protecting those that I guess they think that need protection? It brings us back to what's going on with Sean Combs. If this was known, like, why did it go on and on and on and on? I'm being told that victims are coming forward, alleged victims, and they are speaking very freely right now with the feds. But I do also wonder, like, why now? Like, why are the feds so concerned right now? Is it because of this lawsuit? Is it because somebody finally came forward and said, hey, you know what? There are all these video cameras and there were all these wild parties. There are some pictures here of the plaintiff, Rodney Jones, on Thanksgiving Day, right before Mr. Combs invites Mr. Jones into the restroom and attempted to force him to ingest some illegal substances. So there's a lot, this is all in here. This is all public information, and it's just sad to see. And the talk of the assault that was going on, and the Mann Act, as I mentioned, because people are traveling from California to New York to Florida, also the U.S. Virgin Islands is mentioned, which is why you might have seen Homeland Security involved. This is a mess. And trafficking with underage people, it is also alleged. So why is it that certain people are protected for as long as they've been protected? I mean, he's been kind of a big deal music artist for a really long time. We need a set of rules, some fairness, if you would, in our world, because this is just not okay.